Mr. Chairman, I observe that the people of Yuma are good folks, and they deserve a lot better from the federal government than they have been getting. And whether or not they'll get it depends heavily on the House of Representatives, and particularly this group, and whether or not we will fight for them. We don't have a single Democrat that we could even convince to come to this briefing to get evidence from these experts. You think we're going to get President Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer to pass legislation without a fight, without demanding that it go in must-pass bills, and we have to use every bit of leverage, or this is a deeply unserious exercise. Now, Dr. Trenchell, about 1 in 4 of the migrants who use birthing services at your hospital need neonatal intensive care unit services, NICU, right?
That is true, yes.
And that rate, 1 in 4, is way higher than with the non-migrant population, right?
Very much higher,
and you got about 20 beds at any given time.
Correct.
And they fill up sometimes, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And so when you have those beds that are full up because of the pressure of these migrant communities, where do you have to send the residents of Yuma when they have a baby that needs NICU?
We would have to fly them to Phoenix or another venue.
And that's 170 miles away.
Yes, it is.
There are few prayers that I have ever seen more sincere and deeper than the prayers of parents when their little babies are at the NICU. And for all the folks on the left who want to lecture to us about how humane an open border is, there is nothing humane about putting a parent on a 170-mile journey when they need NICU services. Supervisor Lyons, we hear Secretary Mayorkas come to us all the time on the Judiciary Committee and testify that the most important partnerships above all else for the Department of Homeland Security are the partnerships with local officials. We hear it time and again. And so here is my simple question for you. Has Secretary Mayorkas ever lied to you?
Yes.
And what was the substance of that lie?
So the mayor and I had the opportunity to visit with Secretary Mayorkas and the Yuma Sector Chief, as well as the Chief of the entire Border Patrol at Sector Headquarters almost a year ago. And during that meeting, he committed to, after reviewing the border, both from the ground and the air, to specifically address, quote unquote, 9 of the 11 Yuma gaps.
And how many of those gaps have been addressed?
To date so far, none. We see infrastructure on 2, and yet they will not deter anyone.
Yeah. This is my 4th time here with you. I think
Yes,
if I
sir.
come any more often, I'm going to be eligible to vote in Yuma.
Thank you for coming back, Matt.
But in these
District 2 is
circumstances,
great.
it seems as though it's not a great mystery where the pressure points are, where we have gaps in the wall, and where we have recalcitrant tribes. And so in those circumstances, should we observe that this is a lack of capability or a lack of will to go and plug those holes?
A lack of will. We've followed up multiple times, as well as Yuma Sector Border Patrol staff and with undersecretaries, and we were told time and time again that they were issuing contracts, that we would have it no later than June of last year, then no later than September, then no later than November. Every time it kept getting pushed out.
So would a reasonable person observe that this is on purpose?
My wife says I'm not a very patient person, but I was patient every time that I called, and they continued to push this process out. It's not reasonable.
Well, the American people are losing their patience. We ought to be losing ours. And while we greatly appreciate the 3 of you being here to answer our questions, the day will come soon when Secretary Mayorkas has to come and answer our questions. And to my colleagues, if he'll lie to Mr. Lyons and lie to the community here, then he will lie to us and he will lie to the American people. And that's why I'm very proud to co-sponsor Representative Biggs' articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas, because this is not a lack of ability, it is a lack of will. Mr. Lyons, I'll give you the last word.
Mr. Gaetz, thank you very much. And to what Mr. McClintock was saying, as far as the cartel violence, over the last 14 months, the sheriff and I have been made aware of over 200 assassinations in San Luis Rio, Colorado, where the cartels are targeting law enforcement. This last weekend we had another officer shot, and then retribution the following night. So when you talk about that violence, it's here at our border. They are in control, and we want to take our control, our border control back. And we need an administration that has the will to secure our borders. And that's what we're asking you to do. And I thank you very much for being here.
Mr. Chairman, my time's expired. I'll yield back.